Ukraine advances in Zaporozhye after the Russian troop loses that Starlink access. And who will police Gaza and how? U.S. security firm that oversaw deadly aid sites in Gaza is in talks for a future role, and U.S. backed plan faces Gaza militia, is what a contractor is saying. U.S. firm that secured that aid site talks with the administration about that new role in Gaza. Former S&P chief executive Peter Murrell has been accused of embezzling 459,000 pounds in that part of the world. So Nicolio Sturgeon's husband, Peter Murrell, has been arrested by police by Police Scotland in connection with an ongoing investigation into some funding that they had going on as well. So definitely that is something that is taking place. And Norway's former prime minister, Thorbjorn Jagland, has been charged with corruption. This is an ex-leader of Norway that has been charged with corruption linked to Epstein. So definitely it looks like the Epstein information is catching a lot of world's leaders. And this is another one that could be going down. And Dubai's DP World replaces their CEO after Epstein links emerge in that case. So definitely that is another person, a businessman that has been named in the Jeffrey Epstein files, replaced as the chairman of a major logistics company. So definitely that is something that people are going to be thinking about in the news as well. And a sister of North Korea's leader says South Korea's drone regret was sensible. So North Korea says South Korea should take steps to prevent violations of its sovereignty. North Korea warns of a terrible response over South Korea's drone flight and all in that space. And of course, the Tumbler Ridge community is mourning the victims of that mass shooting that took place earlier this week, and Canada's Prime Minister Carney to visit Tumbler Ridge after the mass school shooting and all in that kind of way. So Canada's school shooters online life showed an interest in violent extremism. What word is there for this? Tumbler Ridge reaches for unity in a storm of grief. And so definitely that is something that people are talking about in the news as well. And of course, there are some Senate hearings going on also in terms of the United States news, but Israel accuses two of using military secrets to place poly-market bets. Israeli army reservists are suspected of using inside knowledge to bet. So two Israelis have been charged with using classified military information to place their bets. And this is in that prediction market item, the poly market. And this is a prediction market scandal that is apparently getting bleaker. Japan. Japan says it sees Chinese vessel amid tensions with Beijing. Japan seizes Chinese fishing boat and arrests its skipper. So Japan's seizure of a Chinese vessel and arrest of their captain could hide tensions between those two Asian countries. And former McKinsey partner to lead Australian opposition party, Suzanne Lee, was asking on the BBC, does Liberal Party drama show Australian politics still has a problem with women? So back-to-back barriers is what the Guardian is saying. Is Angus Taylor enough to stop one nation? So we'll see how this all plays out in Australia. And Russia fires a barrage at Ukrainian cities as next round of U.S. broker talks is unclear. So Russia hits Kyiv, Dnipro, and Odessa with missiles and drones. Two dead and an infant among those that were injured. So definitely this war is continuing. It's been going on now for many years and all along those lines. EU leaders are ready countermeasures to pressure from Russia, China, and Trump. So EU has planned to deepen single market in March and accelerate capital market union. So von der Leyen touts two-speed Europe to press ahead with economic reform. So definitely that's something that's going on in the world as well. And top U.S. officials are calling for NATO 3.0. So Pentagon policy chief tells European NATO members to step up their combat capabilities and all in that way. So definitely that is something that folks are talking about as well. So definitely a lot's going on in that space. And of course, people are still talking about the election in Bangladesh. And I believe it was the Liberal Party that won in that particular election. But hopefully, Sharif will be here and he can tell me which party won and all in that space. But I think it was the BNP party, if I heard it correctly. But like I said, I know Sharif hopefully will be joining us and he can tell me more about the results that were taking place in Bangladesh. And famed Texas forensic artist releases a sketch of a mass suspect in the Nancy Guthrie case. So that case is still going on and all along those kinds of lines. And Trump sidelines climate contrarians in a science rollback. So Trump repeals the key greenhouse gas finding, erasing EPA's power to fight climate change, and all in that kind of way. And activists are fighting ICE, even though it could get them killed. So beyond the big cities, ICE is rattling small towns and urban America as well. So it looks like ICE is definitely having its influence felt in a number of places. And Trump nominates a hospitality executive to lead the National Park Service. And of course, there's been grilling of somebody that he wants in a international role because of some of their thoughts around replacement theory. So Tom Homan says federal agents found thousands of missing children in Minnesota. So they're saying that Minnesota was definitely at the heart of some missing children. And the U.S. is sending a second aircraft carrier to the Middle East, sources are saying. So Pentagon to move carrier to the Middle East from the Caribbean. So definitely we'll see how that goes and what people's reactions are to that. And the House Judiciary Committee questioned Pam Bondi on the Epstein files. Democrats eye legal action, and GOP seeks answers on Trump administration spying on Congress. So definitely that is something that folks are looking at as well. So lots going on in the world and in the United States also. And Trump promised RFK Jr. would restore faith in American healthcare. CNN is saying a year in, trust has actually plummeted. So RFK Jr. made promises to get his job as health secretary, and even NPR is saying he's broken many of those promises. So we'll see what folks have to say in that space. And it looks like we might be heading to another shutdown. The Department of Homeland Security is on track to shut down with lawmakers leaving Washington and an unresolved ICE fight. So definitely it looks like we might be heading toward another shutdown, and we'll see what folks have to say about this shutdown and what's going on in that space as well. So like I said, a lot's taking place in the world. Always glad to be talking about these various items that are taking place and how folks are reacting to these various stories. I do have Rick with me. I don't have Sharif this time around, but I'll bring Rick in, and we'll see if other folks join also to see what their thoughts are about a number of these stories. And also we were going to do our next recording of Naked at Night and everything like that. But
no, not this Sunday because we don't have the model.
Okay.
We got to cancel this Sunday. So got the weekend off. Maybe we'll try something midweek next week.
There's no problem. Yeah, we can try midweek next week and see how that goes. Maybe a Wednesday or Thursday or whatever. I know I do the online dinner party on Wednesday, but we can see how that goes and who's available or not available. But yeah, we can definitely try to do that. What are some of the news stories that you're following?
So yesterday, the revised job numbers for 2025 came out. Mm-hmm. The previous number for 2025 was the U.S. added 584,000 jobs, which is bad. It's about 1/4 of what was added every year for 15 years before last year. But they revised it down from 600,000 to 181,000, which is an 88% decline from 2024. Which is bad. But if you look at it month by month, in the last 8 months of 2025, after Trump announced tariffs that were supposed to, bring jobs back to the U.S., the U.S. only added 12,000 jobs from May through December. That's a 99% decline from previous years. It's really bad. Now, January of this year had decent numbers, added 130,000, but that number is bullshit and it's going to get revised in a few months. But so far, Trump has been terrible for jobs. And if you add that to in his first term, Trump was the first president since Herbert Hoover in 1933 who left office with net jobs loss. His first term, and you can blame COVID, but it was Trump's deal too. Anyway, we lost 4 million jobs in term one of Trump. So he's not the jobs president.
He's not the jobs president at all, and all in that space. By the way, I was hoping that Jarif would get here so I could learn more about this gentleman and everything like that. But it looks like the Bangladesh Nationalist Party swept to victory in their first election since those Gen Z uprisings and everything like that. So it looks like that is who won, and it looks like they are center right. I didn't know which way they were, but they're center right, and they secured a landslide majority in parliament and all along those lines. So we'll see how this impacts a country that has had a lot of protests and all along those lines. So even the prime minister of their country, Karki, congratulated the Bangladesh National Party on their victory. So we'll see how this all plays out, and if the students and other young people continue their protests and everything like that, because the election marked apparently a major political shift following the end of Sheikh Hassani's 15-year rule. So they had somebody that had been ruling for 15 years, and now Tariq Rahman will be set to become the next prime minister. So we'll see how this all plays out, and hopefully Sharif will come in at some point, either today or tomorrow, or Monday, and can let us know his thoughts about this election and who this gentleman is and what he expects from his country in terms of direction and everything like that. What are people talking about over there in Spain? Nick, I know they've been following the Olympics. I did watch the U.S. have a tight match, at least in the beginning, with Latvia, and then it looked like they rolled to victory after a while. But definitely they were tied and knotted up 1-1 for a long period and everything like that. But I guess they decided to clap down on Latvia, a much smaller country, and go ahead and roll to victory. But they did do that on yesterday and everything. I hadn't seen who had won today in speed skating. And I think we're in, meaning the United States is in third place. Because I want to say that Italy and Norway are in the first and second position. And I can't remember. I think Italy's in front and Norway's in second, right behind them with like 4 medals behind them and everything like that. So at least that's the last time I looked, and all along those lines. I don't know how Spain's doing in the Olympics, but how are you doing, and what stories are you following?
Okay, Spain is doing terribly in the Winter Olympics because it's not their sport. So they're not doing well. They do broadcast it a lot. They also did mention the Bangladesh elections, which were pretty big over here. So the thing is, they were, nonchalant about it because they don't know much about what goes on in Bangladesh. We'll have to ask Sharif. He knows a lot about it since he lives in Dhaka. Correct. So we'll have to find out for him. Other than that, the only thing I keep getting on my blogs is your friend Bad Bunny versus my friend Turning Point. So they still haven't got over that. In other words, that battle apparently is more interesting than the Super Bowl, Seattle versus the Patriots.
Well, apparently there's a lot of Senate hearings going on because I think they're trying to get somebody in an international organization, and apparently he had some very right-wing views about replacement theory and other things. So Cory Booker and others were grilling him on yesterday. And then there's also, of course, the Epstein files and Pam Bondi's testimony and everything like that. So what have y'all been following those two kind of Congress things that are going on? I know they are now, I guess, getting ready to go on recess, but they were definitely there as this gentleman was basically had some writings worrying about the majority Latin population or people being replaced.
The only thing we're looking at is another government shutdown on Monday, which we'll see how that goes because of ICE. So that's about it. But it's I think it'll be a bigger deal once it becomes a bigger deal. I do understand Roger Goodell's calculus of Bugs Bunny coming in is that he believes, which the demographics are showing, that the Latin Americans will overtake. They'll have a huge demographic group in the next 10 years. So he's trying to cater to them, so they'll go to the games. I don't think we understand. They really don't like American football. Part of it is just the size. Like when my wife's about 4'10", maybe 4'9". When she's over here, she's normal. She's in the United States. She's really, really small. Spanish people are really, really small. They are not the big Goliath monsters you have in the U.S. They take to soccer because you don't need to be a Goliath to go play it, and they hate American football. So I think what's happening, he's basically barking up the wrong tree. So as they say in Pawn Stars, that ain't happening. In the meantime, he's killing his own base, which is stupid. So Roger Goodell needs to really go back and look at his books again and see where the NFL is going in the next 10 years. Europe doesn't like them. Latin America doesn't care about them. And it's really an American sport. It's like trying to take curling and send it to Rio de Janeiro. Forget it. But, they're not going to adopt curling. It's just not their thing. So that's the thoughts on that. Epstein does hit here because the thing is he was engaged. It looks like he had an international sex trade operation going. So he hit a lot of very wealthy and influential people. What amazes me is if you're that wealthy, that influential, and so hard to get even an interview with these people. You have to go through that. Yet a guy who's like a pimp can walk in and they just they open up their doors. It's just amazing. So somewhere along the line, these incredibly wealthy, influential people were not thinking with the right head. I mean, they really just were.
Well, apparently they're saying that you were talking about the NFL, but apparently they're very serious. And I think that even Rick had mentioned it on a show a couple of days ago, but the NFL is going to reportedly hold its first ever Australian game at the Melbourne Cricket Grounds in Melbourne in week 1. And apparently he's got a lot of plans to go to a lot of countries around the world, because apparently, like he said, he's trying to make it more of an international sport and everything. So the NFL is considering beginning the 2026 season on a Wednesday night, bucking a 2-decade trend of holding the NFL kickoff game on a Thursday night. So definitely it looks like they're going to go to a lot of places. So after winning the Super Bowl, the Seattle Seahawks would traditionally host the kickoff game, but according to Puck's John Orion, the NFL plans to also schedule its first ever game in Melbourne, Australia, between the 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams.
That is really stupid, and I'll tell you why. When I was in Australia, they play what they call Australian rules football. Right. They have their own leagues. It looks just like American football. It's a pretty cool game. They have their own fan base. They have their own logos. I mean, it's just really exciting. So what he's saying, and I don't think he knows what he's doing, I'm going to go to Australia and supplant Australian rules football with American football. Good luck.
Also, he's making the players fly 12,000 miles each way.
Yeah, but he's an idiot. Come on, Rick. Has he ever been to Australia? Has he looked at Australian rules?
It's not particularly fair to the players. Also, they're talking about a few years ago, they expanded this season from 16 to 17 games. Now they're talking about adding an 18th game. That isn't fair. That's for greedy owners. Yeah, and it's not fair to the players who get torn up.
Hold on a second. Here's the places, because they're going to a lot of places next year, including your area, Rick. So they've got a game in Melbourne, Australia, between the 49ers and the Rams. Rio de Janeiro, this is all for the next season. Brazil, between a team to be announced and the Dallas Cowboys. Paris, France, between a team to be announced and the New Orleans Saints. Munich, Germany, they haven't announced those teams. Mexico City, Mexico, between a team to be announced and the 49ers. Madrid, Spain, between two TBA towns. And London, England, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is a soccer stadium. Yeah, and it looks like all of those games, except for one of them, have TBA teams, but will be one.
Out of 272 games played next year, 9 of them will be played outside of America.
Right. Yeah, and he has a chance in Ireland because the college football goes to Dublin now every year. He has got a chance in London, and maybe even a chance in Madrid because of the expats that are there. But some of these other places, and Mexico City, I think, might be a place because it's pretty close and it has a huge population. But Rio and Melbourne, as they say in Pawn Stars, that's not happening.
Well, speaking of things not happening, and maybe we should look at doing things like this too, Nick. But apparently, the Baltimore Banner, and we do have a show that Urban Sun. I got to get with Reggie and see when they're going to come back on and everything. But the Baltimore Banner is a successful digital news startup down in Baltimore, or they like to call themselves sometimes Charm City. They announced plans to expand their sports coverage to Washington, D.C. because the Washington Post eliminated its entire sports desk. So definitely it looks like this digital league is going to look at the possibility of going into that area and all in that space. So definitely we'll see.
Has Roger Goodell ever thought about putting a professional team in Mississippi and Alabama where football is a religion, or even in South Carolina?
I
By the
know they
way,
were talking about a team in
yeah,
South Carolina, but the Panthers are basically considered
yeah,
both a
but
Louisiana and South
Charlotte's so
Carolina
far
team.
away from Charleston. I mean, if he wants to expand the American sport, go to where it's a religion, which is in the South. Go to Charleston, South Carolina. Go to Harris. Go to Jackson, Mississippi. Go to places where that people respect the sport. But Rio, no, that's not happening.
So if
Well,
you
we do have Dr. Sharif here, and I could ask that
Our
question
man from
over.
Bangladesh, he's
So I want to
arrived.
get past the stuff around sports and everything.
Okay.
We were talking earlier, and I just knew what I found out online. But can you tell me how folks are feeling in Bangladesh about the election? It looks like a center-right winner,
Yeah, that's a big thing.
center-right person won. But how are your
Yeah.
students feeling about the election?
Yeah, this is very good question. You can see not only my students, many high quality politicians. I think Port TV shared our content in between their network. Those who join in World Talent Economic Forum podcast, let's say Ali Nawaz Mahmood Khoyam, my uncle Barrister Mahbubuddin Khokon, he is also Supreme Court Lawyers Association president in Bangladesh. Even many fellows of World Talent Economic Forum institution, they win in the elections. Maybe they will form. Definitely, they're already forming the government, and I think already they joined this Port TV network through my dialogues, through my things. And beside that, World Talent Economic Forums, we go for many innovative summit. Let's say we develop the urban plan for Bangladesh, or what the politician can do for Bangladesh, what will be the future of this world, how they can uplift their community. We go for urban planning, we go for summit, and I share in the email. I think thousands of peoples they join in my summit publicly. I do it in Chittagong, I do it in Rajbari, I do it in all of these. Bangladesh different communities, and it's look like everybody trust World Talent Economic Forum as well as Port TV. So many of our fellow, good point, they win in the elections. Many powerful politicians from South Asia, from Bangladesh, they win in the elections, and they are our long-term fellows, and they like our innovative discussions, dialogues, and everything. Students, yes, some of the students doing good, some of the students do cannot perform well, but this is the futures. They can take the preparations. But one thing is very important, because what we understand from the social media, these right-wing politicians and other things, it's actually improving in Bangladesh. Maybe USA supports some right-wing politicians, Islamic politicians, and other things. But interesting point, these Bangladesh nationalist parties, those who support our like our freedom fighters, those who support our independence, they actually win more than 200 seats. It's a 2/3 majority. So I believe a lot of things happen, but Nick, this is very good time. You can visit Bangladesh, meet with
By the
Bangladesh
way,
Prime Minister,
I'm glad
Bangladesh
you're
Prime
here.
Minister, and they know you. Many of the politicians
I'm
win in the
glad you're
parliament.
here. I'm looking to go to your city. As a matter of fact, I was looking yesterday because a couple things that I learned about Bangladesh. Number one, you have an intercontinental hotel in Dhaka. And my
Yeah,
wife
we
and I,
have.
we love the Intercontinental Hotel. So when I travel, I always stay at the Intercontinental. I just think they're great. The people are great. And so I thought, well, let me go look at flights. So I looked at flights. I have to stop at Doha or Dubai, which I figured I can avoid at Dhaka.
Yeah.
And I was looking at all this stuff. What do you do? Well, the Intercontinental is about 5-minute walk to the University of Dhaka, which I don't know if you know where
Yeah.
that is. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can actually walk to there. Then they've got some really good touristy things to do. They have all these palaces and stuff like that. So I'm looking maybe in October to go over to your wonderful city, or fourth quarter. I mean, I haven't made up any plans. Fourth quarter means October, November, December, because I figured it'd be cooler. I haven't checked your weather, because I do know you have rainy seasons, non-rainy seasons, all that stuff. So I got to check that out. And then an itinerary, in other words, what to do besides what I like to do, which is to go see all the wonderful sites.
Hey, and speaking of things that you like to do, and I know you'll enjoy yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah.
One thing just I want to add, like definitely you will you can stay in the Intercontinental Hotel. You can visit Dhaka University, Homestone, or visit this place, your friend. But if you want to like engage with the peoples, I can invite you the places where our fellows win in the parliaments and
Okay.
millions of people, those who engage in our ecosystem. You can connect with them, and many people know you. So regularly, I
Well,
share our
how
podcast and
far is
other things with
Parliament
your
from the
network.
Intercontinental Hotel?
Not so far. It's a maximum 40 minutes to 1 hour drive. Not so far.
Really? Wow.
Not so far.
That's because you
Yeah.
live in a big city. Now, here's the funny thing about Dhaka. A lot
Yeah.
of people
It's
don't
not
know.
so far.
It's the second largest city in the world right now. I mean, so you're talking about one of the largest
Too
cities
much
in the
away.
world.
It's amazing.
Seriously.
Well, speaking of the largest cities and everything like that, and definitely you got to go there and visit, and maybe I can get some money. Or also, what are we doing, Nick? Since I've got you on the air and I can put you on the record, what are we doing about South by Southwest? Because I know at one point you wanted.
You're going to have to ask Kim because
No,
she
Kim
put
told me to
everything
ask you.
on hold. Oh well, I got to talk to her then because I don't know what she's doing. She's in charge of that project. You know, I do
Yeah,
international projects.
and I think this Pod
Maybe
TVs and our
Mark can go
network,
to Dhaka. I'll send Mark to Dhaka.
like I want to invite you all, even Rick Rosner, and many
Yeah.
people knows you, right? In the political, I can remember in the campaign I share our Pod TV show,
Yeah, and you air a lot of our
even in
programming
our
on
YouTube
the
channel and everything.
because
Yeah.
Tariq, I know you hear a lot of our content. I did have a question for Rick really quickly, but first I got a question for you because I have a new idea. And not everybody's gonna like the idea because not everybody likes. There's a whole war between pet owners as to whether cat people are better, dog people are better, or fish people, or whatever the other pets that folks have. Because people have all kinds of pets, but apparently there was another sport that was airing at the same time as the Super Bowl. It didn't do as good as the Super Bowl because apparently the Super Bowl averaged 124.9 million viewers, which was down from last year, but still good enough for the second highest audience in the game's history. But apparently there's something called the Puppy Bowl, and the Puppy Bowl was having its 18th version, and it featured 3 Pennsylvania pups and drew 15.3 million viewers on Animal Planet and across the Warner Brother Discovery Channel. The show's biggest audience since 2018. So 15.3 million isn't that bad. Can we find some cats and maybe have a cat bowl or a kitten bowl or something like that? And maybe we can air that on the network because apparently there's a lot of people that were watching the Puppy Bowl and everything like that. So the puppies were over there playing their own version of football, and it drew a lot of attention on the Animal Planet. So we're Pod TV. Maybe we can have the kitten bowl or the hamster bowl or something like that. So what do you think, Nick? Are you ready for us to sponsor a kitten bowl?
Yeah, I mean, you find out in Turkey they have a lot of feral cats, which are cats that are don't have a home, but everybody feeds them and takes care of them. But here's the reason why everybody takes care of cats in Cairo and in Istanbul. Cats eat mice. Now, why is it important to keep the mice down? Mice create plague. They don't want a bubonic plague. So everybody's nice to the cats in Istanbul.
Well, I ran across a
because
cat
they
2 days
don't
ago.
want the mice and they don't want the plague. It's
And
kind
we
of-
actually brought that up with a friend of mine because I was actually eating at
Yeah.
a Asian restaurant in Durham, North Carolina about 2 days ago, and everything along those lines. And I got to talk to the owners and all in that space, or some of the management. And they had some bamboo groves, but they also had a orange cat, and there might have been some other cats. But the outside cat for exactly that reason, because the cat kept away the vermin, so they could have a nice, good restaurant and a clean restaurant because the cat was keeping the vermin and the other things.
Everybody's
I
nice.
have a question for Rick really quickly, and this comes back to entertainment and everything. But apparently, I was looking online yesterday, and Bill Maher and Jimmy Kimmel, your former boss, are not happy with each other, and apparently they will never talk to each other ever again, and everything like that. What's going on between Jimmy Kimmel and Bill Maher?
This is just based on what I read that Jimmy's wife, Molly, says that there are some members of her family where she doesn't talk with them anymore because they have political disagreements. And Bill Maher says that's inexcusable, that you should you shouldn't abandon members of your family because they're MAGA or whatever. And I'm sure that and Jimmy's, I guess, isn't anyway. They seem to have, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't hung with Jimmy in like 14 years,
Right.
and I don't know if it's a serious beef or if Bill Maher has a podcast where he, in addition to his HBO show, I guess, where he goes off for hours at a, I don't know if it's serious or not. I don't know if we should give a shit about it. I can tell you that Molly comes from a conservative background. Like, she's not like, there are people who look at Jimmy and Molly and think that they're raving liberals. They're not. They have taken positions on stuff. Like Jimmy spoke out against, I think, guns after he's from Vegas, and a shooter went up in the Bellagio, opened fire on a concert, and wounded 500 people and killed 55 people. The next night, Jimmy went on his show and talked about how sad he was.
Right.
That's his hometown where there was this huge, and it doesn't make you a raging lib to be sad about 500 people shot by a lunatic in your hometown.
No, that doesn't make me raging, but
Molly comes from the Midwest, from like, I think, St. Louis, and she went to like KU, Kansas, or who has the Jayhawks? Kansas State?
So Kansas University.
Kansas, the University of
Yeah,
Kansas.
so like she comes, like she doesn't come from like, some, like my hometown, Boulder, or some, San Francisco, or some freaking crazy she comes from a conservative background, and she's, if she says anyway, so
there's people that get into those discussions and everything like that. Just really quickly along those same lines, and I see Jacoby's joined us as well, and we still got some more Trump madness. We've been talking about some of that and everything, but apparently some of it is being stopped. So I'd love to hear folks' thoughts around it. And of course, Christy Knowles is back in the news, but a federal judge, and I know we've got Dr. Patman's show, our own medical show, and maybe we'll get some other medical shows because we used to have some back in the early days and everything like that. But the federal judge has blocked Trump's plan to cut $600 million in health funds. So apparently he wanted to cut $600 million in health funds, which I'm
from
pretty
blue,
sure.
you got to add blue states. He wants to cut $600 million from blue states. Trump said when he ran for president, his second term would be about revenge. And in addition to that, yeah, so Hegseth and Trump have told the military bases they have to start running on coal. Trump got rid of the EPA regulations that considers, he stripped the EPA of the regulations that consider greenhouse gases as dangerous. He trashed that. So now car manufacturers are free to go back to gas guzzling cars. They don't have to hit a schedule to reduce emissions. Trump is just laying waste on behalf of, coal is freaking ridiculous. We're down to 40,000 coal miners left in the US. Coal is more expensive to use, not even considering the grime it creates compared to later iterations of solar and wind. It's expensive, it's dirty, and it's just Trump saying F you to people he doesn't like.
It sounds like he's saying
make West Virginia great again. It looks like Sharif has a little movie. Let's see if we can play it. I like movies.
Okay, we like movies.
This is the things I'm just sharing our summit, because this is real people. Always we discuss about AI, human intelligence, and many more things. So and definitely they are our audience of World Talent Economic Forum, as well as Pod TV. And you can find that this man become parliament member, and he is our fellow of World Talent Economic Forum, and regularly join, and we make urban planning for them. I share the master plan, right? This Himalaya, this Ganga, this Bay of Bengal, this Padma and Bay of Bengal. So you can find all of the real audience, real people. All of the real peoples, those who love our contribution, those who actually getting support by our innovations and all our talent economy and so on. You see, this is youth development initiative. So this is the way actually we engage with our grassroots level communities, and we are supporting our initiative. And politically, I'm again sharing politicians, corporations, academia, NGO, corporations, all of the people, through our initiative, they thought that this is the right thing for Bangladesh. This is the right agenda for our elections. Even I write, I write a lot of books and scientific papers. So we call it technocracy, like model like Singapore and South Korea. So all of the politicians, all of the people in this India and Bangladesh, they trust our things. And I think I want to give a special thanks to Nick. I think this 6 years before you give me the opportunity to raise my voice, create a voice for me, and yes, we make it. Finally, we make it, and everybody has opportunities. When I see that lot of big companies, they are actually sacked, like IBM, this Microsoft, these Googles, many of people losing their job. I say, why don't you focus on Global South? And I'm also working with Mr. Homestoner. Pacific Crime Business Council, CC Forum, and this World Talent Economic Forum with Global North, what Port TV is doing, and with Global South, because we have billions of people, billions of youth. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of opportunities. You can contribute, you can join, and other things. Again, I request, in the politics, I see two strategies. One party, they only focus on social media, and they took control over social media in Bangladesh politics, and they're getting huge support through the social media. And another party, like what we are doing, they are actually go for door-to-door, engage with the peoples. They use local medias, also social medias, and many more things, and they get maximum benefit. So I just want to say, Nick, you have a very bright future with your Port TV. Very, very bright future. If these innovative discussions and thought process, as well as some action, like we can develop housing for these people, we can develop new education for a system for these people, you can develop a new healthcare system for them, you can develop energy for these people, you can even train them for new investment opportunities, and through this process you can engage with billions of people. And I'm very happy how I'm getting support by North American people. I really want to give you thanks how you support my initiative and our initiative. I believe in this is not my individual things. Secondly, how I'm getting support by the India and all of the scientists, and how I'm getting support by the Bangladeshi people by this election and elections campaign and winning these things. And last things, even the North American education is excellent, because I said that Stanford University last year, I was in Stanford, I was in NASA, and I'm getting an excellent by this scientist and inventor by the North America.
Yeah, just really quickly.
So I want to request all, let's work together. Let's make progress.
Yeah, we definitely have to work together and everything. And I know that's one of the things that you definitely promote regularly and all along those lines. And that's even kind of what they were talking about with the gentleman that was being inducted or trying to get appointed to an international organization, because apparently he was trying to say that there is a difference between unity and diversity and all along those lines. And he also had the replacement theory, which I know that Jatovia has talked about, and all in that space. So he's been getting grilled in Congress. But Kristi Noem is back in the news, and I'd love to hear y'all thoughts about that, because apparently she fired a pilot over a lost blanket, but then she was forced to reinstate him in order to fly home. So apparently, I guess this pilot has somehow managed to lose the blanket that is made.
They switched planes, and the pilot forgot to bring her special blankie from one plane to the other, so fired. Except they had no other pilot, so rehired. So, but what the most interesting part of this, I think, it's a long article. Thousands and thousands of words about what an asshole Kristi Noem is, along with the guy she's banging, Corey Lewandowski. But what's interesting about it is it's in the Wall Street Journal, which is owned by Rupert Murdoch, which the journal is generally in the pocket of the Republicans. And here they are running a vicious article about Kristi Noem.
Yep. They definitely would run that vicious article, and I guess it's like Linus. Everybody's got their favorite blankie and everything like that. So maybe that was like Linus and his blankie. So those that
also she has bought a couple of jets to the tune of, I don't know, like 140 million. But the jet she's using, I don't know if she bought it or not. She's flying around as her personal plane in a 737 MAX. Now that's a plane that we fly around on with 300 other 250 other people. You know, when if I want to fly to Albuquerque, it's going to be on a 737. What the heck is Kristi Noem doing? You know, commandeering a freaking 737.
My question is, who's paying for it? Are we as taxpayers?
Yes, we are. They mentioned
we are getting ripped off big time by this Kristi Cream person, you know, because first of all, she's an idiot. And she's playing way above her class and station. Didn't she come from like South Dakota, North Dakota? No one lives there.
Yeah,
Okay? I mean,
she was. She has no law enforcement experience.
She has no experience in
South
life.
Dakota.
I mean, you know, and what is she head of? Why did we hire her?
Well, Trump hired her. We didn't hire her. Trump hired her.
Why did Trump hire her? He makes
Because she appeared with him at Trump rallies and kissed his ass.
Yeah, but
Also
see,
because-
that's his only requirement. Doesn't he have any requirement?
Well, he has a certain type. Like if you ever notice, a lot of the
and-
people, Pam Bondi, Kristi Noem, they
That's
are
what I'm
the
saying. I'm
blonde
saying,
stereotype, kind of like his wife. And others.
He hires incompetent people. These are not.
He also
the
has
best
a,
of the right.
particularly with the women's he points, he has a
They're
certain
dumb.
stereotype.
Also because
that just says how dumb Kristi Noem really is. I mean, I would.
I have a question to all of you. Is there one competent person that Trump put in his administration, cabinet, and so on?
Probably Marco Rubio. He's probably
Okay, exclude Marco Rubio, who could
Oh
be
man,
kicked out.
if you exclude Marco Rubio, I'm sorry, Sasha, you are really digging the bottom of the bottom.
No.
I don't know anybody who's competent in that.
No, I mean, anybody competent working for Trump worked in his first administration, like Rex. I keep bringing up Rex Tillerson.
quit.
Yeah, they
Or
all
not
quit
fired.
because they didn't.
Rex
because
Tillerson. Yeah,
he's,
he was.
he's a
he was the
bad
head of ExxonMobil. He
Trump
was-
is
he
a
was
bad
competent.
boss to work for. Tillerson lasted a year,
Yeah.
and then he
Get rid of
left with
Kristi Noem. Come
bad
on.
things to say about working
Yeah.
for Trump.
There's
Yeah.
You know, didn't Trump be in The Apprentice, and he actually eventually got some decent people through The Apprentice? Okay.
I don't
Then
make
he gets to
There were a
play
couple of people
real
that got through the
as president, and he gets a bunch of morons to surround himself with, only because the two criteria is A, did you kiss his rear, and B, how hard did you kiss it? Those are the two criteria. It's not whether you're competent or not.
So speaking of Trump and his incompetence,
If he was a football coach, he wouldn't last because
well, speaking of football coaches, because I had a question for
there's
Jacoby,
no
because I know he follows sports just like I do and everything.
Is
Is this
something else?
Jacoby, is this super leagues that we're about to have? Because I think
Mark, I
Trump will probably
wanted to get to the other question because
go ahead.
Yeah, I
Go
wanted to
ahead,
get to
Jacoby.
this real quick because Sasha asked if anybody was competent. There's nobody competent there, not even Marco Rubio. The reason the people are hired is because they're yes men. They will do anything and everything that Trump says. That's how they got hired. For example, RFK already said that he snorted coke off of toilets or off toilet seats. This is who you hired. As you see, Kristi Noem has no law experience. Marco Rubio is supposed to be good with Cuba, but the thing is, he's already told Cuba because Trump, hey, we're going to take over Cuba just like we did Venezuela. So there's nobody competent that's with Trump. The only thing you have to do is say you love Trump, and also not be black, because Tim Scott got screwed out of that. He went on stage talking about how much he loved him and never got a job from Trump. So that goes to show you who Trump is hiring. And in terms of The Apprentice, Trump didn't hire or let people through on The Apprentice. That wasn't Trump at all. It's a scripted show. So they scripted those individuals to go through. So it has nothing to do with Trump. Trump was just the character on the show, and people bought into the character.
Hey, wait a minute. Don't diss Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio went to the University of Miami.
Here's what's
To
happening.
you, baby. Marco Rubio is very.
tariffs is
So don't buy into Marco Rubio not being
because he
competent.
has no resistance from his cabinet or from his party or anywhere. Now it came to the point that there are a lot of international alliances and trade blocs are being built where US has not been invited at all and not even been notified of such meetings. And right now, the US is ready to negotiate the Mexico, US, Canada
NAFTA?
NAFTA deal. No, how is it called?
NAFTA?
NAFTA. Yeah, but it came under a new name a couple years ago. So that one, guess what, is not going to be not even negotiated by Canada, not even discussed. There will be no show up for these so-called negotiations. Canada does not need US, period. Canada is now already signed agreements of oil deliveries and gas with Japan, with South Korea, with Europeans. They're now talking about doing it. So US will be excluded from America. America will take heavy losses. 31 states completely depend on trade with Canada. It's energy, electricity, it's rare earth metals. It's just name it, anything. And without that, the economy of the states will go down big time. And with that, all economy of US will go down. And stock market is very quick to respond. As soon as yesterday, there was a news about this signing of documents by Carney and all European leaders in Brussels, market tanked yesterday and is going down today. So nobody can even explain logically, oh, well, it's a part of the correction. Well, it's something like, no, there is a very deep reasons. International trust has been lost by US. Nobody wants to talk to US. Nobody wants to trade with US or even contact with US. It's a becoming damaged zone, and it will go on until the end of the year, midterm election. And today, Trump can do nothing. He's talking about 100% tariffs of Canada. Now, Congress overturned it, saying, no tariffs on Canada, please. So this will go now to Senate, and the Trump will probably veto decision of both the lower house and the Senate, and so on. In the meantime, there is a government shutdown already, and this is a horrible situation where America never been in the last 249 years.
Sasha, hold on a second. Sasha, speaking of that and everything along those lines, hold on. Speaking of that, because we have another issue, because we got the Olympics going on, but the World Cup is coming up, actually, ironically, around the time of my birthday, and I think there's some games up in Philadelphia, but it's like in June or July, and the U.S., Mexico, and I think Canada are hosting a lot of the games and everything, but they're saying that fans have already found themselves in a heap of controversy because of ICE, with several fans reportedly canceling their tickets or calling out Trump and his administration. So soccer fans from several nations also find themselves at a disadvantaged position based on the travel bans imposed by the U.S. But there are some teams that are supposed to be coming here that are on the travel ban list and everything like that. So how is this all going to play out when this is a world stage? We're about to have a just spectacle that's of a bad, even a further bad taste in the world and in the world politics, because a lot of teams are supposed to be coming here from all over, including some of the African nations and others as well. And some of them are on the banned list, and they're saying that they're going to be, ICE is going to be part of the security apparatus for the World Cup, which will be taking place in a couple of months. Maybe we can carry that too, Nick, and everything like that. But what is your take on the soccer fans that are not happy?
They're right to not be happy. Like when you come to a country for a sporting event like this, you're spending a ton of money, and you should expect to have a good time.
I think they should be thrilled to come to the United States of America, the land of the free and the world's strongest economy, no matter what Sasha says.
And the best soccer team.
and the best soccer
best,
team.
the best
If,
of the
if
best.
you look at Canada, they're having a hard time paying their bills. They can't even buy oil and gas, so they had to cut their flights. This is the headlines from Al Jazeera. They had to cut their flights to Cuba. Why would they even flying to Cuba? Who knows? So it's Canada's economy that's in shambles, not the United States of America. Please.
Well, the shortage of gas in Cuba is inflicted by the United States. That's their problem. Canada has no problem.
we have
Canada is
individual
bringing
states.
all for his back from
We
Cuba.
have individual states like Florida, Texas, and California. That's economies bigger than the whole country of Canada. So Canada is like a little flea on a huge elephant called the
Nick,
United States.
I'm surprised by how naive you are. All this great economy
I'm
is
just
based
telling
on
you, I don't
AI
know
trade.
the news.
One company bought 100 billion shares of another company, and 2 months later saying, oh, it was just a letter of intent. And in the meantime, both stocks went up and then both stocks went down. No jobs were created at all. No economy, no benefits.
We don't need jobs. We just
Wait a
need-
second. Wait, real quick. I gotta ask Nick.
We'll just have
Nick,
to explain this
Nick,
to you. I don't know where you don't.
Nick, I got a question. You said that Canada is stopping flights.
No, I'm not saying it's on Al Jazeera's news.
Okay.
They're
But what did you
stopping
say?
flights
How
because
did
of
you say
lack
they were
of
stopping
fuel.
flights?
It's hard for me
Because
to believe. Lack of
Cuba
fuel.
has no fuel to refuel these planes, and that's happened because
Then
of U.S.
it begs the
That's
question:
very
why are we
practical
flying to
decision.
Cuba?
Wait,
to
wait,
Why
be
would
fueled?
you fly someone
Hold on,
to
hold on, hold on,
refuel?
hold on.
Why
Because-
are you
Real quick,
flying to
real
Cuba
quick,
to be
between both of you.
fueled?
Hold on.
Is Canada kissing Cuba's rear?
Nick, hold on. Now there is a refueling situation that has to go on Cuba, but why did you not talk about that their Canadian is that WestJet, a Canadian airline, is stopping flights to Orlando?
Well, who cares? I mean, that's the reason why. I'm just looking at.
Wait a second. It doesn't fit your narrative because you know what? You know why they're stopping flights?
It starts off with
No,
Canadian
Nick, I
restaurants
asked you a simple
struggling to
question.
turn
Nick,
a
you know
profit.
why they are stopping
They
flights?
can't make any money up there.
No, Nick,
Nick,
why are they
I
stopping
have
flights?
several friends who are renting
Because Air
properties
Canada
in
suspends
Florida.
flights to
It
Cuba
used
due
to
to fuel
be time a
shortage.
couple of years
Stop,
ago,
stop,
but it
Nick,
was impossible to rent
Canada's a
anything or
disaster.
buy.
Nick, you wanna know
Today,
why they're stopping
go
flights?
to any place and you will find an apartment
Would you
in
like to
Florida.
know
It's
why they are-
easy because everybody is leaving Florida.
Why-
Okay, nobody
Why
needs it.
Florida has
If you want to
extremely
know
strong
why they are
economy.
stopping flights, Nick,
Now, come on, you guys are
out
really,
there, it's
really
actually public
smoking some
information.
stuff up there.
you're cutting the flights
Liberal
because
ones,
actual
right?
travel has dropped a
Right,
lot.
so
there's-
let's get back to the World Cup. The Los Angeles is hosting 7 World Cup games in June and July. We will show you a good time. We will overwhelm any ICE forces, but just to be safe, if you're coming from a Latin American country, lose the little Jesus, lose your cross, put on a yarmulke, and try to pass as Jewish, and then ICE will hassle you a little bit less.
Wow. Speaking of being hassled a little bit less, just really quickly, Jacoby.
Wait a second. ICE will hassle you a little bit less,
Well,
but
so-
MAGA will hassle you more.
Yeah, but no, LA, we don't have much in the way of MAGA in LA. It's very hard to find MAGA.
It's hard to find MAGA except for your co-hosts and everything like that. Hey, Jacoby, just really quickly, and that's the other story I was going to get to, but we can also deal with it on other shows, including hopefully some sports shows that we'll have as well. But what do you think about these super conferences? Because apparently I think it's the Big Ten. Yeah, I think it's the Big Ten. It's about to have a 24-team league and everything. That sounds like too massive to me, but maybe the ACC is going to become that massive as well. But they just announced that they're not going to have a championship series, but they're going to have 24 teams and everything like that. That seems too big to me, but maybe I'm overthinking it. What are your thoughts, Jacoby?
This is money.
It's money.
Who are they adding, Mark? Who's the Big Ten adding? They'll get them to that level.
I forgot who they're adding. I got to look it up and we can talk about it on next week and everything. But they're adding a bunch of teams and maybe even be doing some mergers and everything. But yeah, they're looking at having a 24-team league with no championship.
Jacoby is right. NIL has brought tens, probably hundreds of millions of bucks to the college game and made it destroy the conferences have been falling apart for decades now as people realign themselves in pursuit of money. We talked about this yesterday with the NFL, and there's all sorts of crazy money games being played at the college level.
Yeah, and did you see Chambliss, the guy who's University of Mississippi quarterback, looks like Chambliss, who's a great quarterback, by the way. It looks like he's allowed to come back another year, but he's also high up on the NFL draft boards. So the real question is he going to go pro, or is he going to go back to Mississippi?
Yeah, but if you're going to make $5 million either way, stay in college.
Yeah, that's what he might end up doing. He may go back to Mississippi, but that'll put Mississippi up there as a potential national contender. I mean, there's just no question about it. He's like a one-man wrecking crew.
There are about 120 elite college teams. Is that right, Toby? Roughly.
Well, elite.
100.
Well, I mean, like big time multi-million-dollar football programs.
I don't know if there's that many, but there's
because there are enough bowls to host something like 60 teams every bowl season, which means that, anyway, the deal is that if you're a college quarterback, you're being compared to more than 100 other quarterbacks. If you're in the pros, it's you and 31 other quarterbacks. So if you're going to get paid the same money either way, maybe hang in college another year where there's, you're not, you can get more experience and you're among 150 quarterbacks instead of 32, which is more.
Toby, what do you think he should do if he has a choice between the NFL and University of Mississippi? What do you think he should do?
Well, he's not unless you're going to be in the top 5 or the top 10, then stay in college because you're going to make roughly about the same amount of money if you're not in the top 10. Right. And that's why he's staying there, because he's not the number one. Mendoza's number 1. He's not even number 2 or number 3. So Trinidad Chambliss is a great quarterback, and he can increase his stock level. Right. But again, he's not the number 1 quarterback coming off. So he's not going to be in the top 5 because other quarterbacks are in those 32 that you're talking about. Yeah. They're already established. A lot of the teams already have established quarterbacks that are going to be in those top picks. So, for example, the New York Giants are going to be in the top 5. And they don't need another quarterback. They picked up Jackson Dart last year, so they're going to be great next year based on having a quarterback. Yeah. The one team that's in that top 5 that needs a quarterback, they're already going to take Mendoza, which is the Raiders.
The Raiders are going to take Mendoza.
You don't have even the Jets are going to need a quarterback. But the Jets have also some other things that they're going to deal with. They have Justin Fields that they can stick around, but they have some other holes that they're going to fill and probably keep Justin Fields and then push back for a quarterback in the later rounds. So you don't need a top. If you're not that number 1 pick in the draft or that number 1 quarterback coming off the draft, you're not going to get. There's no reason to come out because you're not going to get that $40 to $50 million deal. That rookie deal, you're going to be stuck on a rookie deal that's going to keep you for at least 3 years until you hit the retirement minimum age. You're going to hit that 3-year mark. That's going to stick you with 3 years signed at maybe about $4 million, 4 to 10 million.
Also, if you come into the pro,
you get $10 million just for 1 year.
Also, you're gonna ride the Matthew Stafford, the MVP, the Rams quarterback, 38 years old. This guy's been, he's a grizzled veteran. He's been bonding with his team for years. You're going to be the 3rd string guy. Like you won't get that many plays.
Yeah, no, yeah. I agree. But see, the other problem is that you will make Mississippi a contender for the national championship. No question about it. When you get somebody that good playing in college ball, because remember, he's a dual threat. If you watched the game he played against Miami, they could have easily won that game and been in the national championship, and they could have easily beaten Indiana. That's how good Mississippi was. So him coming back is a game changer for Mississippi. Absolutely no question.
One more thing is if you go to the pros, you're fully in an adult life now. You're buying a house. Yeah. If you're in college is set up for
Front
to
end
help those
loader.
guys
Right,
out.
in college, when you're a pro player in college, you're an adult. You have already been given a contract with the NIL deal. You've already been given
You have
cars,
an agent.
houses. You have all this stuff that you're going to
Yeah.
get in the pros. What you get more so in the pros, is you're going to have access to particular safety nets that you would not have in college. College, you mainly have your family, your lawyers, your agent, and that's it. You do have extra access in the pros where you're dealing with pro level players. So you have, it's six in one hand, half dozen in the other. You're going to have benefits and losses in both in terms of the attractors or the detractors. But the problem, if you're not in that top 10, and if you're not that top quarterback coming off, then there's no reason to leave. You're just gonna make more money. You're gonna increase your stock level. If you're that top quarterback like Mendoza, there's no reason for him to come back because his stock can only drop. It can't go any higher.
I agree.
Can't go up and everything. I know we're getting ready to wind up.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
Jacoby, I was getting ready to say just really quickly. I saw that Mario, and everybody knows Mario Kart and everything like that. They've got a new popular game that apparently Steve Rao will like because apparently they've got a tennis game that is doing very well and everything like that. So I saw that in some of my news as well. So I saw that they've got this Mario tennis game.
Mario Tennis is just the remake of the Mario Tennis that came out on the Nintendo or the NES. It's just they've done multiple reiterations of it, and for every new system, there's always a new Mario Tennis. There's a new Mario Golf that's going to be coming. It's just that's how Nintendo has built their ecosystem. That their characters are beloved, and they've placed them in racing, in party games, and everything else. So there's a new Mario Party that's probably going to come out. Mario Galaxy is already on the way. So you have Legend of Zelda, new one coming out. So Mario Tennis is on the Nintendo Switch 1. It was good. On the Nintendo Switch 2, it'll be good.
Okay, cool. On that note, we're ready to get out of here. We'll have World Edition next week as well, and we'll have some other shows, including I think the interior designer show later on this evening. And of course, they're doing Russia, Ukraine, and China right now. Sasha and Jonathan are having their discussion, and we'll have the chess show. It'll tape today, but it'll air on Saturday. So a lot of other exciting shows, including one of our new shows, The Butterfly Room, which is dealing with people's mental health and all along those lines. So right now, let's get on out of here. We'll catch you later.